YouTube, welcome back. I had to play around a little bit with the lighting. I managed to find a little desk light whilst also blinding myself. Hopefully all is good. We are going to go through how to set up a full body training program. Okay, it was a question I was asked actually the other day, how to go about it. And it gave me the idea of, well, I'll just create a short video of me waffling on how to set it up, key considerations, how you can go about it, this, that and the other. So that is what this video is going to be about. So why full body training? So it's a sort of a training style I've been following now for probably the last, what are we in now, June, probably since pretty much the start of the year, for specifically the last 6 months, purely down to the fact of it allows me to train everything frequently. I quite enjoy the style of training and it's allowed me to make progress as well. Now, that's not me saying that full body should be the split for everybody and anyone. There's not one size fits all. It's just at the moment training 3 times a week for myself is what I enjoy. It allows me to obviously balance the running aspect of things, so full body makes the most amount of sense. If you were to just do like a 3 training sessions a week, do push, pull, legs, well, you only train everything once per week, whereas a full body you can either train it 2 or 3 times per week. For me is far more of a bang for buck return on investment of such. So like I said at the bottom as well, it will then allow you to have time that you can then delegate to running, cycling, high rocks, whatever sport it is that you're doing. So that's why I favour a full body training session. Now, how would you go about structuring this across your week? So we obviously got 3 sessions per week, and it's going to give us a lot of options as to how we're going to space it across a 7-day calendar of such. So you may go for like a Monday, Wednesday, Friday. You might go for a Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. It will all depend on obviously what other sort of activities that you take part in. So for me at the moment, my training sessions are Monday, Wednesday, Friday in the gym. That allows me Tuesdays to just run. Wednesday I do a double training day, so I run and gym to allow me to have Thursday completely off. And then Saturday will be my long run. Sunday I have off. So the full body sessions allow me to do so. If you aren't able to have a double training day, you may look to push one of the runs to the Thursday, or just do the run and 2 strength sessions per week. But ideally, probably want to try and train 3 times in the gym. But as volume in your other endeavors increases, it makes sense to decrease your volume in the gym. So that's how you could go about it. I wouldn't be doing my gym sessions back to back, just purely because the sessions are quite intense. We're getting the most bang for our buck in those sessions. So from a recovery perspective, central nervous system and obviously muscular as well, it just makes sense to try and have a day rest after each one in terms of strength training. So that's how I'd go about structuring. It's no right or wrong, but I would just follow the lines of maybe a day on, day off, day on, day off, etc. Now, if we were to sort of break down how you could go about structuring it, there's plenty of ways you can deem a full body training session. You could do 3 full body sessions, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, for example. You might just have 1 rotation and just repeat that 3 times. It could be something like that. I would probably not do that so much, just because you want a little bit of variety, enjoyment in training, and obviously focusing. Each session could have a certain focus. It could be one day could be more focused on your hinging, one day could be more focused on your overhead pressing, one day maybe focused on a squat pattern. Whereas if you're doing the same rotation, you're not really sort of focusing on certain areas. So I like to personally go with a full body pull, full body push, and a full body. Full body pull and push allows me to focus on the pushing or pulling side a little bit more, and then a full body approach in terms of in the gym is sort of combined. So it gives me the best of both worlds. Everything's getting trained twice per week, and I'm in the gym no longer than 60 minutes. So I'm still able to make progress. I get in, get out, I'm efficient, and I still can train quite intense. So when it comes down to designing your full body, it's a case of understanding, like I spoke about earlier, what the main aim of the session is, and also what the main aim of the workout is. A few examples: is the main focus on lower body strength to stay injury free, become a better runner? Is it something like improving your overhead pressing or pressing in general? Or is it to improve at a specific skill that you need in order to improve for high rocks? From there, when you've then understood sort of what it is you're mainly trying to train for, you'll then be able to sort of design the rest of the session accordingly, and that will give you sort of a good framework to go off. So if we look at like a full body example, now this doesn't include sort of like warming up, mobility, prep work, which I would be spending sort of 10-15 minutes doing in terms of getting all muscles and joints nice and warm, getting the central nervous system fired up, and then I'll be going into sort of these movements. So we can go off. This is very basic, very generic. This is for someone that's probably just going in there, trying, wants to train everything, train quite hard, get the most bang for their buck. Again, if you're in a running block, then your sessions will look different because your volume for your lower body might be, like slightly inept because of recovery from all the running. It might well be you notice imbalances that you need to focus on, etc. So this is just like a generic how I'd go about thinking. So we've got a upper body push, starting off with an incline dumbbell press. Now with most of my compound pressing exercises, the first set will be the heaviest set, and then I'll do a back off set for 2 and 3. So my first set is my heaviest, so I'm probably aiming more towards the 8 rep range, and then on sets 2 and 3, anywhere from that sort of 10 to 12. We then go into a single arm cable row. So again, helping any imbalances, single arm as well, working the lats. Leg extensions, get the quads nice and short, and also get some neat movement in the knee. Personally, with all the running that I do, I notice that knees are an area I try to sort of focus on and can be an area that flares up. So I always personally like to do some form of leg extension or like a lying leg curl before going into a squatting pattern or like a leg press. So hence why leg extensions, then into a dumbbell split squat. So again, unilateral work to help obviously focus on one area, one side compared to the other, and also help improve coordination. We then have a 45-degree hip extension for our lower body pull. So like almost like a hinge, but nowhere near as taxing as something like a deadlift or an RDL. Tricep dip, which is, yes, you're biting your triceps, but you're also going to get a lot of delts, a lot of pec and tricep as well. And then we've got some seated dumbbell bicep curls and a standing calf raise. So something like that could be an example of a full body training session. In terms of a full body push, you may look at something like this. So we're going to start off with a seated lateral raise. The reasons why I start with this is because I personally just want to get a little bit of more focus on the medial head of the delt from an aesthetic perspective. So it's sort of this portion here. Do it first when you're most fresh. It's not going to take away from any of the other exercises that I'm doing. And also it just gets the shoulders moving and just allows me to feel a little bit more prepared before going into a compound lift or some form of press, like a chest press machine. Leg extensions, again, what you could look to do is maybe one session do them dual leg, the other session do them unilaterally, so one leg at a time. And again, just to making sure that we're keeping the knees moving and getting everything nice and warm before going into a heavy leg press. Again, 3 sets of 8 to 12, heaviest set first. Pec deck for some more chest development, a little bit more volume. We then have our abductors, so more so for the glutes, pushing away from the body. And then we were going to finish off with the tricep superset of a dual rope tricep push down, where we're focusing on extension of the elbow and trying to get the tricep short. And then we're going to superset that with an overhead tricep extension, which is focusing a little bit more on that length and range, 3 sets of 10 to 15. So that's how you could go about a full body push. And then a full body pull would be seated leg curl, like I say, to get the hamstrings primed and moving. And obviously, again, trying to make sure that we're biasing that first when we've got a bit more energy. For a lot of us, hamstrings are probably a weak point because they're just something we've neglected. So we do that first. Same with our adductors. Again, muscle group that we probably don't train that much, and also it's our hips main stabilizer, which makes sense to do before we go into our hip hinge, which is a barbell Romanian deadlift. Heaviest set first and then dropping off for sets 2 and 3 in terms of load, but higher rep range. We're then going to go into a little bit more accessory work with the chest supported machine row. I like bracing against something, just gives me some more stability and allows me to almost push into the pad as I then row and pull back. Lat pull down, incline dumbbell bicep curl, and then a single arm preacher curl machine to finish off the session. So you can see they're full body sessions, but they're not sort of anything too extreme. I don't know why there's 2 of those. It's not a case of 10 exercises per session. You can still get a lot done. It's going to come down to the intensity that you train and also your ability to recover. If you're making progress each week, you're getting stronger, you're improving your execution, then you are onto a winner. Okay, so as you can see, a little recap of this. Full body is not just for beginners. People sort of have a misconception that, full body training is for people that are new to the gym or middle-aged females that sort of are going into the gym after doing the school run. That's not the case. Okay, full body training approach is fantastic. I've been training for 7 years-ish, 8 years, and this is probably my favourite split. And it's also given me the best bang for buck without having to spend hours in the gym, which then allows me to spend my time doing other things, like creating these videos. Training frequency of a full body approach is sufficient, without, like I say, spending hours in the gym. So you can train each muscle group 2 to 3 times per week fairly easily. You still need to make sure you're training with intensity and aiming to implement progressive overloads. We want to get stronger each week. We want to improve the reps. We want to improve execution. We still log in our lifts and trying to get stronger. You can split it how you wish. Like I've said, you can either favor a full body times 3, full body push, full body pull, and a full body session, however that you wish. You could even do 4 times a week. You could do full body push, full body pull times 2. But again, I think 3 times, if you train hard enough, is more than enough. And then make sure to have a rest day after each session, because training full body one after the other, although some of the sessions you're not really conflicting interest in terms of muscles being trained, there's some big lifts in there that may need a bit of time to recover from, especially if you're balancing this with running or sport or whatever else. So that is pretty much where we're at with things. Now, 4th of August, we are going live with our next group coaching program. So Muscle and Miles 8-week group coaching starts on the 4th of August. Now, you're going to get your training, you're going to get your nutrition, you're going to get everything that you need to make progress over the 8 weeks. We're going to start off with an assessment week on week 1, whereby we're going to see where we are from a strength perspective and also a running perspective. That's week 1. We then have 6 weeks of training, and then we're going to do on week 8 our sort of test week and seeing how much we've improved in terms of VO2 max, your long runs, your heart rate, strength, everything else. So that all goes live. That will start on Monday the 4th of August. Now, if you want to know more or you want to get yourself involved, I'm going to put a link in the description below. It's going to take you to a priority list. This priority list is going to allow you to have access to the early bird offer when it gets released. Okay, so rather than waiting and paying the full price, if you join the priority list, you'll have access to the early bird offer. So I'm going to pop that down there. That will, again, include a full body training approach, but it's obviously going to be a little bit more tailored and specific to you and yourself rather than these generic ones I've just put in this slideshow. So if you want to get yourself involved, link it in the description. Hopefully this video helped and gave you a little bit of an insight as to how you could go about starting or structuring your full body training sessions. And if you did enjoy the video, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.